views expressed on the following broadcasts do not necessarily reflect those of KHLT, Take 12 Radio, or our affiliates. The opinions on this show should not be considered as medical, psychological, or professional advice and are those of the host, co-host, and guest. Take 12 Radio and KHLT Recovery Broadcasting are not affiliated with any particular 12-step fellowship. Now here are your co-hosts, Bruce H. and the Monty Man.
Sandy, baby. Sandy is our special guest this week. Marv R. His last show was last week. Well, we're gonna miss him. But we gave Sandy a call, so therefore the little John Travolta from Grease Sandy thing in the beginning there. You should have seen her face. Hey, Sandy, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Sandy W. and Bruce H. are here in the studio. And, gosh, Sandy, we've known each other for a long time.
20
plus. Yeah. Sandy was in court with Marcia as, really as a support for her when we went to court. And we thought it was just going to be no big deal. Going to go to court, and the judge was going to go, oh, this is ridiculous, go home. Well, you guys went home. I went away in shackles.
I remember that.
Oh, my word. That was many, many years ago, and we've stayed friends all this time. So thank you for conceding to do this. Boy, are you in for trouble.
Uh-oh.
Anyway, so welcome to the show, and we're going to have some fun today before we start with the topic. The topic this week, as announced on social media last week, is when is it okay to consider leaving your home group to find another home group? What should be the proper motivation for that? I mean, is it ever okay? Is there times when it's inappropriate, or is there times when maybe you need a change? Who knows? I don't think that there's anybody, if you've got any longevity in your particular 12-step support meeting at all, that I don't think there's anybody that hasn't at least considered that. And we'll talk about maybe some of the reasons people consider that. Some of them may be pretty self-centered. Some of them may be very valid. People are people. So we're going to be talking about that. And Sandy, you live in Scio, right?
Scio.
S-C-I-O.
Scio.
Yeah, and for the listeners, another beautiful part of Oregon.
Oh yes.
Yeah, just gorgeous.
Out in the country.
There's the cat meowing. Albany isn't quite as beautiful as Scio because Albany keeps growing and growing. But Scio is just a beauty. Do you guys have any coverages out there?
Oh, yeah.
Do you? Yeah.
It's called the Covered Bridge Capital.
Oh, is it? Scio is? Oh,
yes.
Okay. I love covered bridges.
They're all over out there.
Bruce, have you visited the covered bridges of Oregon?
My mother-in-law lived out there.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, had a nice little place out there, 21 acres.
Wow. Mm-hmm. 21 acres.
Yeah, they got it up for sale now. Part of the inheritance going to the sisters.
Right.
There's 4 sisters.
Boy, that's a riding lawnmower. If you've
Well, the front part of her property, people would grow things on it and hay. And,
yeah.
Be careful. People would grow things on it. In today's age, it's Oregon.
Monty, your mind just doesn't work.
I know. Normies don't think like that.
Man, normal people don't.
They don't. I mean, I'm in a line at a Promise Keepers rally. I've told you the story before. At a Promise Keepers rally, and I mean, it's like a 2-hour line because everybody's there early. I don't know why people do that. Just go after everybody.
I know.
And somebody goes, and I'm with all these fine folks from our church and all these men. They go, man, I hate lines. And I'm going, man, I love them. And only one guy got it, Other rest of them are looking at me like, what?
Some of us are sicker than others.
I guess so. All right, folks, we're going to hear from our sponsors real quick, and then we're going to come back, and Cecil's got trivia for us. Don't go away.
This is Chris Schroeder. You are listening to Take12Radio.com, recovery talk and positive music.
As men and women who have recovered from utterly hopeless states of addiction ourselves, we know all too well what it's like to battle addiction daily. We are Origins Recovery Centers. Here at Origins, we have taken that which we have learned along the way, excised anything unhelpful and unnecessary, infused it with the latest medical research and innovative therapeutic methods, and created what we know to be the absolute gold standard in substance abuse treatment. And Origins provides the most preeminent aftercare and relapse prevention program available in the United States. For a free confidential clinical assessment, call toll-free 888-843-8935. That's 888-843-8935. Origins, delivering real solutions for real families.
Men, women, and their families experience tremendous pain and suffering due to the struggles they face from substance abuse and its co-occurring mental health challenges. They need to find a safe place for peace and healing. Therapia Addiction Healing Center was born out of a deep desire to provide that safe and powerful healing environment. Therapia exists to help people recover from addictions by developing and maintaining healthy, meaningful relationships with God, self, and others. To speak with an addiction specialist, call 1-855-652-4325. That's 1-855-652-4325. Or visit our website at www.therapia.net. Therapia Addiction Healing Center, restoring lives one step at a time.
Attention, everybody. I want to welcome our new co-host for this episode, Sandy W. Sandy comes to us from around here somewhere, and we're really glad that she's here. And I hope that, Sandy, you will enjoy Take 12 Trivia.
Yes, indeedy. Take 12 Trivia is brought to you this week by the 12-Step Gazette. Visit their website at the 12stepgazette.com. The country's leading recovery magazine for South Philly and surrounding areas. Sandy, that was Cecil.
That was Cecil.
That was Cecil, and you'll be hearing much more of Cecil if you stick around here enough.
I'm really just maybe just a little jealous.
Why are you jealous?
Well,
Bruce?
I thought that Cecil had a special little thing for me.
Yeah.
And I could tell that welcome was...
That was special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cecil's got something special for you, all right. Punch in the nose, right? All right, so if you get this trivia question wrong, you'll hear this. If you get it right, you'll get that. Yay. Or maybe something else that I choose. Take 12 Trivia is a lot of fun. Totally useless trivia this week, and this is how we play. We have 3 questions and a bonus. If you get all of them right, then you get a hug. If you don't get anything. Yeah, isn't that worth playing right there? She's going, what? Sometimes we give away prizes, like 2 hugs. Okay, question number 1. What kills more people every year than plane crashes? Here are your choices. What kills more people every year than plane crashes? Number 1, poisonous snakes. 2, donkeys. Or 3, scorpions.
Oh, gosh.
Poisonous snakes.
Poisonous snakes? Bruce?
I'm going with that, too, poisonous snakes.
Well, you guys would be wrong. It's actually donkeys. Donkeys kill more people than plane crashes every year.
What?
Get out of here.
Take 12 trivia question number 2. The 57 on the Heinz 57 steak sauce bottle.
How do we get that checked? Because that's just not right.
How do you get it checked? Listen, I'm the authority on Take 12 trivia here, buddy. It's true. And if it's not true, so what? If it's not true, we'll just do that. Okay. Number 2, the 57 on the Heinz 57 steak sauce bottle refers to what? Here are your choices. the first 57 employees on the assembly line. Number 2, 57 recipes it took to get the final product right. Or number 3, 57 varieties of pickles used in the sauce.
Oh, the Lord have mercy.
Number 2.
Number 2, 57 recipes it took to get the final product correct. What is your answer, Bruce?
I'll go with the pickles.
You'll go with the well, Sandy, you get this. Yeah, Bruce, you are correct. It is the pickles, the 57 pickles, and it was originally Heinz 57 ketchup before it was ever steak sauce.
I didn't even know they had pickles in it.
I didn't either.
Now I know.
Now I do too.
I'm glad.
I'm a pickle lover.
Are you a pickle lover?
Me too.
I like sweet pickles, but they're too expensive.
For the right amount of money, I'll name those pickles.
Oh, gee.
Oh my God.
How many are there? Is it kosher, dill, butter, sweet? There's got to be a bunch of other ones. Vinegar, something or other. I don't know. All right, trivia question number 3. The King of Hearts. And Bruce, you've had this question before. Let's see if you remember it. The King of Hearts in a deck of cards is the only king without a what? Here are your choices. A sword, the color red, or a mustache.
Mustache.
What do you think there, Sandy?
A mustache.
A mustache?
Just because.
Okay, so right. Just because what?
Just because I want to disagree with Bruce. I'm right?
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, see?
I got it right.
Yeah, he said mustache too. Okay, here's your bonus. Here's your bonus question. The wooden aircraft, affectionately known as the Spruce Goose.
I know that guy.
Okay, which was a product of Howard Hughes's genius. I don't know, genius. It was up in the air for like 10 minutes.
It didn't fly that long, did it?
No, I think it was. I think from the time it started to the time it came down was 10 minutes, something like that. It was really short. I think it was only in the air, actually in the air for like 3 or something. It's really, really bad. But that was not its original name. What was its original name? Here are your choices: Spartacus, Zeus, or Hercules.
Well, I'd have to go with the Zeus because it goes along with the other name.
With goose? Rhymes with goose.
Yeah,
And Bruce?
Me too.
You're going to go.
I've seen it.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
I've never seen it. It's only, what, an hour and a half away, right?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Well, let's see here. What should we give you guys?
Uh-oh, we lost.
Yeah, it was originally named Hercules. Hercules.
I started to say.
Yeah, that was my guess, too. We can move on change.
And by the way, Howard Hughes hated both names. Did not like either one of them.
I bet he didn't.
He didn't like too much.
He didn't like me.
Germs especially.
All right, so that does it for Take 12 Trivia for this week. All right, we'll be right back right after this.
I didn't think it was possible for me to be an alcoholic. I was 24 with a good career. I thought I was too smart and that alcoholism only happened to middle-aged men and celebrities. I thought something else was making me sick, shaky, and afraid to face people. Then I found AA and discovered it wasn't something else, it was alcohol. AA helped me find a new life. Alcoholics Anonymous. It works. Look us up. Check your phone book, newspaper, or AA.org.
Choosing a facility for drug and alcohol rehabilitation treatment is an important decision. It should be a place where you will be comfortable and supported, and one that is staffed, equipped, and programmed for successful outcomes. Introducing Free by the Sea, located on 5 acres of secluded waterfront property along the southwest Washington coast, away from big city distractions. The campus is a renovated resort property, so the grounds are lush and beautiful. Above all, the reason to choose Free by the Sea is the success rate of our counselors and staff in helping clients to transition to a life free from addiction. For more information or to schedule a visit, call 800-272-9199 or visit our website at www.freebythesea.com. Free by the Sea, charting a new course to recovery.
Hey, Sandy girl,
That's enough of that.
Who was that, Bruce? You know who that was?
No, I don't.
That was the Hollies. The Hollies sang that
Yeah,
song.
I should have known that.
Here's a little thing that I didn't know about that. That song was actually written by Bruce Springsteen in 1973 before he became a superstar. The song, Asbury Park, 4th of July, Sandy, was a song about the girls that Springsteen knew growing up in New Jersey. The Hollies were impressed with the song and decided to shorten the name to Sandy and give it that signature Holly sound of great harmony and instrumentation. From the album Another Night, Sandy made it to the top 85 in the Billboard Hot 100 in the spring of 1975. Interesting, huh?
85 is a good number.
So 75.
Oh,
number 85 on the Billboard chart.
Yeah.
Yeah, 85 is a good number. Why do you say that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not getting closer.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So many of you have been anticipating the giveaway. A couple weeks ago, we announced that we were going to give away $150 worth of recovery goodies. Last week, we announced it on the show, and we're doing a drawing of sorts, and we're going to give 2 of these packages away right now. We have we started a new Facebook group, the Take 12 Recovery Radio Facebook group, for the purpose of people that wanted to listen to the shows directly from their Facebook account and then comment. And they're allowed to comment other things too, as long as they keep it G-rated and they don't post a bunch of links and that kind of thing. So if you're interested, go to facebook.com/groups/Take 12 Recovery Radio and join the group. So everybody that's a member is eligible for these prizes. This time. Next time, we'll do something else down the road a ways. About twice a year, we give some stuff away. So I have in my hand a list of everybody who is a member of that group. There's like 663, I think, something like that, just in the last 2 weeks. So that's pretty awesome. So what we're going to do, instead of cutting every single one of these up, putting them in a hat, and taking all that time to do that, what we're going to do is I'm going to ask Sandy to tell me when to stop. First of all, I'm going to shuffle these pages. You guys are verifying that I'm shuffling these pages, right?
He's shuffling.
Okay. Some of them have people's pictures on them.
That is the strangest shuffling I've ever seen.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just flipping. I can't shuffle them like cards. I just want to make sure that. Okay, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to start flipping through this, and Sandy, you tell me when to stop. Ready? Here we go.
Stop.
Okay. Okay, now Bruce, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got 8 names on this sheet on this page. Pick a number between 1 and 8.
6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that would be. Make sure I write this down. Okay, I got that one. Okay, I'm not going to reveal it yet. Okay, ready? All right, now we're going to do it again.
Now let's go the other way. I'll tell you when to stop.
You want to tell me when to stop?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we go. I'm starting to shuffle.
Stop.
Okay, Sandy, number between 1 and 8.
8.
Dee, 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 dee.
Cecil's friend. We don't know his sex either. His sex.
Oh, brother.
It's.
Okay.
It's a rooster.
So, these are the winners. Now, before I announce the winners, and they're going, just tell us, right? Okay, I'm going to tell you what you're going to get. First of all, you're going to get a Take 12 Radio t-shirt. Second, you're going to get what's called the Bible Stick. It's a preloaded MP3 a player with the New Testament on it in drama version. So, like, there's sound effects and things like that. So, when Jesus is in the boat, you're going to whoosh, all that kind of thing. You're going to get a bonus CD we didn't add before. We're adding it called Positively Facing the Challenges of Recovery, Family Adjustment to Recovery by Dr. Alan Berger. The Recovery Music CD, Grace of a Woman by Dr. Jamie Marich. You're getting Dancing Mindfulness live with Dr. Jamie Marich. And you're getting Walking Through the Big Book with Chris S. and myself. Mike D's book, Basic Prayer and Simple Meditation, Mike D's book, Letting God In, and Dick B's book, The Power of God, a guide to early AA groups and forming similar groups today. That is what you're going to receive. And the winners are Jennifer Lawwill and Joy Talbot. Jennifer Lawwill and Joy Talbot. Congratulations, you guys. Yeah, you get that. A little applause there. All right. So what I need you guys to do then, well, I'll contact you, and we'll get your mailing address and so forth, and we'll get these packages out to you. There you go.
That was easy.
Zippity-doo-dah day, right?
Ooh.
Zippity-doo-dah. So now I don't know what I'm doing with all this extra paper, but...
Reuse it.
So that was fun. All right. So the topic this week, when is it okay or appropriate to consider leaving your 12-step home group to find another home group? And we put this question out there on social media, and we don't have time to go through all the responses, but there is a similar theme through most of the answers, and see if you can pick it up. Kelly S. says, when it doesn't feel like home. There's lots of reasons. For a long time, I went to several groups, and they were all within 5 miles of me, a couple even closer. But I moved on. It's never been the same. I can't connect. She's having a hard time reconnecting. But she said basically when it doesn't feel like home. Eugene T. said, just like everything, whenever you do it, you choose it. Not sure what that means, but I guess what he's saying is whenever you do it, that's the right time. Joy T says, when I'm not feeling my heart and head are being fed.
Your heart and what?
Head
okay.
are not being fed. Not being fed the love and knowledge that's supposed to be in the rooms, then it's time for me to go. Melissa T said, I changed home groups when my schedule changed for me. It's not only a home group because I go to it regularly. More than any other thing, it's where I do my service work. Vincent W. said, leave any time as long as you're not leaving because you don't like the accountability. So if people are holding you accountable and you're getting ticked off, probably not a good reason to leave is what he's saying. Right. Jennifer L. says, when you're not feeling like you're not getting anything out of the group anymore, then it's time to move on. Stephen C. says, I felt I should when I was put into a group to work on my things by my sponsor. So the sponsor told him to go to meetings. But I felt uncomfortable already talking with one person, but talking to a whole bunch of people was too much. Joy T said, okay, she responded again. I was told once when I got angry at a meeting by my sponsor not to go to another group until I knew for sure that the problem was with others, not to go to another group and mess them up.
I like that.
Mike D, who, by the way, is the author of the 2 books I just gave away, says, I've been a member of my home group from the first day of sobriety. I would only find it necessary to leave it if the group began to deviate from the steps and traditions. And Christopher Y said, I don't do AA anymore, just small group Bible studies like the early AAers that went to the Oxford groups. And I disciple men that are interested in truly getting well. Did you catch, now there's a couple that didn't fit into this category, but did you catch kind of the main thread going through the responses? What did you catch there, Sandy?
I think it's the main thread there is if the group isn't supplying you with the program and the spiritual support that you need to stay sober.
What'd you hear, Bruce?
When it's not supplying what you need.
Yeah.
Okay. I think you're right. And I thought it was interesting that that Melissa T was the only one that said that she was holding on to her group because that's where she does her work. Mm-hmm. It wasn't really about her. Now, I'm not saying being about you is a bad thing. I'm just saying that she was the only one that kind of turned it around and said, this really isn't about me. This is where I do my service work.
Right.
So I thought that was interesting.
I liked her response and number 2.
Number 2, Eugene T. it's time to go when you do it?
Oh, that's not too
Or
much.
do you mean Mike D, the when it's not about steps and traditions anymore?
That one.
Oh,
yeah.
that one? Yeah. Okay. So that would kind of fit in. People may not even realize it, but I guess if the basic text itself isn't, the basic text anymore, I guess you could say, then it may not even be considered a meeting, depending on whether it's AA, NA,
Right.
CR, or whatever you're going to. If whatever your main text is that you're using or your instruction manual isn't being promoted, read, taught, and shared, then maybe something's going on.
So what do you do in a case like some of the ones I know where they have a huge influx of newcomers and they're not aware of this,
Right.
And so as a person that's been around for a little while, what's my job now?
Well, and I think Sandy and I talked about this on the phone before the show. That this is why it's important for people that actually know this literature, why they don't bail. Now, because if nobody's there to teach them, because it doesn't matter what organization you're a member of, it's going to go off the tracks once in a while.
Right.
You got to have somebody there, people there to reel us back in.
See, and I, in some form, kind of disagree with that.
Okay.
Because I'm as positive and as real about this as I can be, and I think that it's right on. I no longer go to meetings for the same reason that I did before.
Oh, sure, of course.
What I go to meetings for today is to hear, for I'll know how to approach the individual. If it's somebody that's intravenous, a drug user, I'll hear him or her, and if I listen to them and see where they're at, then I'll know how to approach them and talk with them, and maybe I can point them in the direction that they should go, or maybe I can help them to get a safe place in the group.
But that's kind of what Monty was saying.
Yeah.
I think you're still doing that guiding thing.
Because your job now is to be of maximum service to God and your fellows.
Right.
And that is really what we're trying to aim for anyway. It's kind of a bait and switch. We're going to, you come in here to get clean and sober so your life will get better. But then, surprise, surprise, the real reason is to help other people and serve God.
Yeah, but it's hard for me to do. If I don't learn to listen,
right, then
I won't be able to make those approaches.
Right.
So I'll have somebody that I really can't help or I can't bind with, and I might ruin it for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean? So I think it's really vitally important for me to do that today.
Right. And you would agree with that,
right?
Yeah.
Especially because of the turnover. I'm sorry.
Right. And I think the other one on your list that didn't go along with that was so important was, if you want to leave, make sure it's not you.
There you go.
Because I almost left my own group because of a resentment, and fortunately I had a mean old lady told me to sit down and listen. And the guy saved my life, as much as I detested him.
Right. Which goes, one of my earliest sponsors used to say, if somebody approaches you with something that is very uncomfortable and you oppose it, the best thing you can do is say, thank you, I'll consider that, and then truly go home and consider it.
Yeah.
Don't just say that, actually consider it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't consider it in the middle of being told that, but
But then we tell people to, if they don't find what they want, to go to other groups, to look for that, where they feel comfortable and
feel at home.
Yeah.
Well, and Monty and I talked about it's a little bit different now than if this question were being asked years ago, like in SIO.
Right.
Where there's one meeting a week.
One meeting, yeah.
Are you going to give up your sobriety because of whatever? But today, it's like I tell the young gals that I work with, if you are uncomfortable, Go to another meeting. Find a place where you feel comfortable.
Here they don't feel safe.
Don't stop going to meetings. But the fact that there's so many of them.
Yeah, it's not like there's just one.
Yeah.
You know. And I think, you know, it's the same thing with church or Rotary Club or Scouts or whatever. You know, it's not healthy to hop, but it's okay to shop.
Right. I agree.
Yeah. So most people that are, for instance, church hoppers, they never get plugged in.
Right.
They just hear something that ticks them off and then they're off to the next place, you know, and it's that way with people with meeting hoppers. Service organization hoppers. I mean, I've known people. My dad was in Rotary for years, and he used to tell me, "Gosh, the guy. 1 minute he's in Rotary, next minute he's in Lions Club, next minute he's in the Elks Lodge. Where's this guy going to land?"
It's like what Sandy was talking about. She got a resentment, and she was ready to go, and her sponsor stepped in and told her, "Hey, wait a minute, sit down, shut up."
Right. So I would go ahead.
Yeah, to work through this thing. See, and that's what we're taught to do.
Yeah, well, sometimes that can't happen. I realize that. There can be extenuating circumstances that would make it not possible. But this was just a matter of I did not like anything about him. And it was a morning that I loved, and I was ready to quit going to that meeting. And she was right. One morning when this is early in my sobriety, one morning when I really wanted to drink, I did what she told me and listened. And, you know, whatever he said smacked me in the face, and I didn't drink that day. So you never know where the message is coming from.
That's true. It's like the thing, be careful who you bash because they may end up being your sponsor or vice versa.
Ew.
Joe, can I play devil's advocate?
Yes.
Then the other side of this is when we do leave or we do look, then people get upset with us because we're so thin-skinned.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, people get upset because a lot of times people get upset with us because they really don't know what's going on.
Right.
They've heard something from somebody. You know, it's like the modern day 12-step fellowships today in many ways are based on what a sponsor heard, and it may not even come from the book, but it's been passed on for so long that we believe it. You know, like you say, Bruce, so the whole 90 meetings in 90 days thing. We understand the heart behind that. You really can't make a good judgment call by going to one AA meeting, one NA meeting, one Boy Scout meeting. No matter what it is, you can't really make a judgment. You need to give it a chance.
Right.
But when we just say that and don't actually offer and make the approach to work with the person, we don't know if the poor sap's got 90 days, let alone another 24. Right? We better be making the approach and seeing what's going on so we can be a maximum service. So there are circumstances that sometimes we have to make decisions. I left a home group of over 20 years, but I couldn't actually move on until I stopped being angry. I couldn't, and Bruce, you helped me through that because man, I kept going to Bruce about this, and I was talking to my pastor about it, and they're just like, get back in there. You know, what did God say about that? Nothing. Get back in there. And something happened, and God did something in my heart, and I wasn't mad anymore. I wasn't offended anymore. I didn't have a resentment, and it was like, okay, now.
See, now you
can shop a little bit if you want to.
I don't believe you can make a good decision when you're mad.
No, I know you can't.
You know, so it's that's the importance behind that.
Right.
And if we learn to go to God and use Him and learn to trust Him, that's we grow in the process of doing this and examine ourselves and see what's going on with our heart and why we can't forgive like we've been forgiven.
Oh boy!
See, that's the big one, and we just went through that with me also, Monty. Remember that?
Yeah.
But I'd like to share just a little story about myself that's real quick. I also wanted to leave my home group, but I wanted to leave it because I wanted to go to the church, and I wanted to work in the church, and I wanted to do what we call kingdom work, and God wouldn't let me.
Good.
Yeah.
Because you know what?
Good.
And some people... Somebody needs to copyright and can that laugh.
I know.
Did you hear her?
She said, "Good,
Good.
But that's see, we can do that, and so we can do that for what we believe is a good reason, a wonderful reason, and a reason of growth in our spiritual
Sure.
life, and be wrong.
Right.
right, or
That's
right,
true.
or right."
Or
Because there
right.
are people that are called to move on, and they continue in a form of service to God and their fellows, and it's okay. We got to be okay with that. We can't get mad at them for
Again,
that.
that's why we're taught.
Yeah.
And these funny little steps to examine ourselves. We're not able, we don't even know our own hearts. How are we going to condemn someone else?
Oh, but it's
Yeah.
so easy to do.
Can we?
Very
We
easy to
like to do. We did do it our whole life. We're comfortable there.
Right.
But my sponsor hung in there with me.
Yeah.
And I did the steps around the church and around Alcoholics Anonymous. And I think God wants me to stay there.
I think at the very least, if you're going to make a move, because that's a major move. Now, I'm not talking about somebody that's checking meetings out to find a home group, and this is their third week doing so. I'm talking about people that have been around a while. At the very least, you need to do an inventory around it to make sure that your motivations are good. Because they may be good, and you still may be wrong, like you were saying.
Yeah.
You know what I found for me was I couldn't leave the fellowship. I could leave that certain group, but there was no way God was letting me leave the fellowship, because every time I tried to, even for what I thought were good reasons, there was this tug. It just kept pulling me back. And I think, and I don't think I'm wrong about this, I think it was the Holy Spirit saying, where are you going?
I have no doubt about that.
Where are you going?
You're needed.
Yeah. And so, responses like, when I'm not being fed anymore. Okay.
What does that mean?
Let's check out why you feel like you're not being fed. You may be right, but let's just don't bail based on a knee-jerk reaction. Ignore that. That's just a light that says the phone's ringing. That may be, you may be responding out of frustration and not out of wisdom. One of the things I just love that our pastor says, he says, when you're making these decisions that are major, whether you're moving on in something, whether it's a financial thing, whatever it is, relational, ask yourself 3 questions based on my past experience, my current circumstances, and my future hopes and dreams. What's the wise thing to do? Not what's right, not what's fair, not even what's legal. What's wise? What's wise? Because it can be legal to smoke pot, it can be fair to smoke pot, but it may not be wise to smoke pot. You know what I'm saying? It can feel right to leave your home group. It can feel fair. It can be absolutely permissible to do so, but is it wise? Is it wise to leave the church you're going to, or the synagogue, or wherever? Is it wise? And I think wisdom requires that we seek our Creator's recommendation in the matter and not our own. I think when we're right fighting, is it right? Is it fair? Is it right? Then we're kind of, well, I've got my rights. I can do what I want. And then we're going to be in trouble.
Well, I think, too, that when you invest your time and you've learned to do this thing, it's not just what we say anymore. It's not because we talk about this or we do this. It's our steadfastness. It's our character. It's that people start to learn to see that what we say and the way we live our lives line up.
Well,
that takes time, and that takes to be at a group. You have to have that. So what are you going to do? Throw that away?
Well, that's what Monty said about taking your past experience and
Your
current
current
current circumstances. That's all a part of you, And that's what gives you wisdom, I think.
Yeah, by asking those questions.
If you look at all those things and your life experiences gives you that wisdom, and plus asking the Lord to throw in his 2 cents, then you might have a good answer. Maybe. I don't know.
As long as you're willing to hear his 2 cents and not twist it.
Yeah.
To, well, I think I hear you say this, God. No, I am saying this. Sometimes people need to move on from a situation for safety reasons.
Right.
Maybe it's unsafe. And I'm not just talking about maybe there's a bunch of people using. I mean, there was a group back east years ago where the whole group went out. This is years ago. And they didn't like what Bill W. was doing, and they thought he was a shyster, and they got all frustrated and everything. So they just all decided that they were just going to, blow it. That's a pretty unsafe gathering of folks. You may want to consider, changing your home group if your home is going to go out. But some you have to do it for safety reasons. That was one of my reasons, because my family had been threatened. And so I had to go, okay, wait a minute here. This really isn't about me. This is about God, my family, and everybody else third. And that's the way I have to do it even with my church. I love my church. But it's God, my family, and then my church. We say recovery's got to come before everything else. Well, that kind of goes without saying, right? I mean, that's kind of a no-brainer. And so I trust God for that. But there can be a million reasons why you're feeling like it's time to move on, and I'm begging you to really consider. It may be, and it may be perfectly okay. But first of all, don't just talk to yourself about it, right? Right. Bounce it off a couple of people. I mean, you wouldn't go get evaluated for cancer and just talk to one doctor. We know this is a spiritual illness with a spiritual solution, or a medical problem with a spiritual solution, and we just don't seek one person's suggestion when we're making a huge move like that. So don't just talk to yourself and say that's what I'm going to do and I've decided I'm not going to listen to anybody else. Bounce it off of somebody. They say, I don't know who they are, but they say that a good 80% plus people in today's 12-step fellowships do not have a sponsor, and the ones that do, it's a phone number only. Right. If that's you, can I just suggest that maybe you go a little deeper than that? We need to have people in our lives, because what was the one person that said here? Oh, Vincent said, leave any time as long as you're not leaving because you don't like the accountability. So if you don't like being accountable, you're probably still doing things on your own terms.
Which is not good.
No.
My own terms when I first came in the program were not any terms you'd want to write home about.
I believe that. Yeah. What about it's a newcomer and not just female, but if you're male or female and you're being approached with just nonsense and you feel uncomfortable, what do you do? I'm more worried.
What do you mean by nonsense?
Are you talking about a
inappropriate?
Guy, yeah, a guy advancing on a newcomer?
Yeah, and the same thing with a male, with people,
male or female,
and feeding them a bunch of nonsense
to get in their pants. You mean?
Well, it could be that. It could be a sexual thing. It could be, women to look good. But I believe if women come in there and they can walk, this is they're at risk for that sort of thing.
Well, we're not a wealth of mental wellness.
Yeah. So,
boy, I wish somebody would have made a pass at me back then. I was looking for it. That was before my husband.
They might not even know how to ask themselves. They might like the attention.
That's when you need a sponsor.
Well, see, go ahead. Go ahead.
Or someone that has been in the program for a while to walk up to you and say, honey, I think this guy is being inappropriate, and I don't know if you're encouraging it or not, but we need to talk.
There you go.
So,
see, I like that answer. We need more people that have that mindset for that can be done. Even the men to be approached like, are you here for a little tale? Or are you here to recover from this thing? Because if your conduct is going to be the same as it was when you was out there using, what's your excuse for it?
Right. And being able to recognize that, being an outside, a person on the outside looking in, especially even guys, when they see another guy being that way, you have to have the...
Yeah, because with today's...
Say something.
More openness about the gay population, for instance. Mm-hmm. You may have guys that are hitting on guys. I mean, let's just be honest about it.
Well,
that's been going on for a long time. A lot of people just don't talk about it.
My mind's going towards there's things out there today that they're risky. They're life-threatening. Mm-hmm. They really are. Mm-hmm. And, we don't even realize the position we're placing ourselves in. And until we get to know someone and they feel comfortable with this thing, you're not going to know before this happens.
Right.
Right. Well,
and it's real risky.
And I think this goes back again to something that many 12-step support meetings have, I don't necessarily think intentionally, but just through the generations have kind of lost touch with, and that's making the initial approach when the newcomer first walks in the door.
Again, I agree.
We're waiting for them. They say, well, here's something that somebody says that you like, ask them to be your sponsor. No. We're supposed to be going to them.
Right.
And saying, hey, I just want to welcome you to the meeting. Can I buy you a cup of coffee? Can I, do whatever? Can we talk afterwards? Blah, 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 blah. Whatever that looks like. And if we're not making that approach, and somebody else is going to, and it may not be healthy, And so if there's nobody there that is mature enough in this thing to be able to make that approach, and all you have is a bunch of people that are brand new. Ugh.
See, if you and Sandy are right, and I believe you are, then we don't have to stop and guess or judge this other person.
Right.
Okay.
We have to take care of the one that's in that position.
That's right. See, you're not there. You're there for the welfare of others. See, this anonymity is the spiritual foundation of all our traditions.
Yeah.
What they're trying to voice there, if you read that, is are you willing to put your stuff aside for the betterment of the group? Are you willing to set your stuff aside in betterment of this individual? See, it's an altruistic program to place the other person before yourself.
Well, and if it hadn't been for, like Monty said, a short bit here. When I first came into the program, I had not a clue what it was about, and I detested women, and I thought they were all snobs and a few other words I won't use. And if it hadn't been for the women that came to me, I wouldn't have stayed, because I certainly wasn't going to go to them. I had women drag me to women's meetings, and thank God it happened the way it did. But if we don't go to these people when they first come in, they can just turn around and leave. I would have. I thought nobody liked me.
And that's a common thread. How many times have you heard people say that about a meeting, about church, about any kind of organization where you go and you've never been there before?
You don't feel a part of it.
And nobody says a word to you.
So do you see the importance, if Sandy's right, and I believe she is with all my heart, the importance of getting a group and being able to, want to invest time with it.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's a very important decision to leave that group, especially if you're in recovery, not just coming there for the first time or the second time and looking for people that are like you, that you feel comfortable with. But to make that decision, that has to all be put in there to make it what Monty called a wise decision.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the person who may be listening right now that's really struggling. I mean, because we're talking about an attitude that is developed over a period of time in our continual growth process of 10, 11, and 12. We know it's more than maintenance. We know it's growing. And we've learned these things. We've learned how to apply and implement these principles in all our affairs more than we were when we first came in. That's taken some time for most of us. Not everybody's got that. And so they show up and they've been there. Maybe they've been there a year. Or maybe even a little more. And something's going on. And I mean, it really is got... Maybe they're not angry. Maybe they're scared. Maybe they're worried. Maybe they don't know how to approach somebody and say, I'm really concerned about such and such. And so the easier, softer way is just to exit stage left.
Right.
Right. And they're considering that right now. They're thinking, yeah, but you don't know my circumstance. Right. We've all said that. Yeah, we don't know your circumstance. What would you guys say to them? How would you ask them to kind of consider their choice here? Because we know that there are valid reasons to move on.
Well, you said it just a few minutes ago. You need to work the steps around it and pray about it. Didn't you?
And it's not always going to be comfortable.
Right.
Okay. But so that's the importance. And now you just can't, I don't believe you can just do the steps around them. And I don't think Sandy's talking about that. You need a sponsor.
Well, that's what I meant.
And because, and I'll give you the reason why it's so important. If you don't have somebody to help you take the walls down,
right,
your little mind is going to justify, rationalize
everything. Yeah.
And you can't see. See, you're going to want to be right. Yeah. That fester is still there. It's still that thing that's within you.
Yeah.
See? And it's alive and well also. I don't care how much you're going to church and all these things.
Right.
So you want to be able to examine it. And you need somebody to walk alongside you. And sometimes, and here's the part where I think people do it, they make these decisions just because they did the steps and they're talking to their sponsor. Sometimes the answer doesn't come immediately.
That's true.
Sometimes you have to wait, and there's a reason for that. And I won't get all into that, but it's just vitally important. If you're not doing that, then I think that there's a real good chance that you're leaving for the wrong reason because you're just selfish and self-centered and want to be comfortable.
We are not like that.
Well, and okay, so we got about 5-6 minutes left. Let's switch gears a little bit. Sometimes when people leave and move on, and I'm not talking about the person who leaves and just falls off the face of the earth. I mean, sometimes people leave, they move, and we assume they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, but because they didn't fill us in on every detail, they may be fine.
Yeah.
They got a promotion and they had to move out of state or something, and they just weren't real warm, fuzzy, huggy, feely people, so they weren't going to say, hey, guys, I'm leaving. You know what I mean? So we shouldn't make assumptions. Hi, Christy. Christy came to say hello. Hi, Christy. But we should be very careful that we don't make assumptions that a person's out using. We don't know that. We don't, there's certain red flags, I'm sure, especially in a small community where sometimes you kind of do know that. But if you're an active member in your home group and somebody moves on, you need to not get pissed off. You need to not build a resentment because that's going to come through to other people.
Right.
And if you start, spouting off stuff about the other guy or gal, when you really don't know what the circumstances are, then you're creating discord and bitterness and that kind of thing. It's our job. It's our job to be peacemakers, and it doesn't mean that's always comfortable, but we should be doing everything we can to encourage each other. If someone leaves and you don't know why, give them to God, man.
Right.
Just give them to God and say, God bless them. Now if you could step in and be of help, I mean, sometimes we can say, hey, we can pick up the phone. If you really want to know why somebody's gone.
That's what I was just going to suggest.
Right?
Call them and ask
them.
them.
Give them a call. Say, hey, you doing all right?
Why would we do that?
Yeah, why would we do that?
Well,
it's much easier to just blah, blah, blah,
Well, it was done to me when I had a little slip right after, and people called me, and it really ticked me off. Why are these AA people calling me? It did it. It did it for me. And so, I agree with you. If you don't know what's going on, call somebody.
Call them, ask.
You never know. You might save their life.
They may be sick.
Not only
they maybe have some sort of illness and they're in the hospital. You just don't know.
Right.
Not only that, but if we're talking about the group and we're doing those kind of things, that will really infect your spiritual life.
If you're sowing discord, yeah, sure.
Oh yeah,
Sure. See, it'll really mess with that. Not only with yours, but with others.
Right.
So we got to be really careful of that sort of thing. And
it's important for the group not to bash the person who leaves. It's important for the person who's left not to bash the group that they've left. And I've fallen short of that in the past. I mean, when I was first having struggles with my own group, I didn't know what to do with it. So I was blah, 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 kind of thing. And that's been water under the bridge for some time now. It's interesting though. Somebody, and I was telling Sandy about this, somebody approached me through email wanting to know why I wasn't there. And they kept pressing it and pressing it and pressing it. And I said, it is not healthy for me to get into a discussion with you. I didn't even know this person. It's not like it was somebody from my past about the particular circumstances. I will just tell you that it's not a good fit, and I'm still alive and well in this fellowship. And God bless you. And there's many people of integrity that go where you go, and it's all right. But I'm not going to discuss it with you. And
people don't like to hear that.
They don't like to hear because they want to know, And but it's vital because I will tell you, people will say you're saying things even when you're not. So if you are, you're just adding to it.
Right.
And it goes both ways. The person that's moved on and the group itself. And it's look at. There are the church that I was in for 18 years. They did some marvelous things for me. My original home group years ago did some marvelous things for me. I should always be, even with all the character defects and the weirdnesses, there were some amazing things that went on. My original sponsor was part of that group, and he saved my life. He pulled me out of a dope house against his sponsor's advice. Came and got my sorry butt. Saved my life. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So we need to reflect. And again, so it's up on my wall. In light of my past experience, my current circumstances, and my future hopes and dreams, what's the wise thing to do? If we'll ask ourselves that question, not what's right, not what's fair, what's wise, before we make a move, in no matter what it is we're doing, I think we'll probably save ourselves a lot of heartache.
That's why we learn to pray and ask God for these things, because sometimes we just don't have it.
You bet.
And we need a little help.
Yeah.
And then that's how we grow and build this relationship.
Sure. Yeah. And so if you get ticked off and you do what they say, you go get a coffee pot and start another meeting. If you can't afford a coffee pot, maybe you should stay where you're at.
I did that. It didn't work. We had the coffee pot. I still went back.
Oh, that's funny. All right. Listen, we're out of time. Sandy, what do you think?
I love it.
Do you like it?
Yeah, I feel like a star. Rock star.
You are a rock star. You going to come back next week?
I don't know. We'll talk about
All right,
that.
we'll talk about that. So, listeners, all pray that God's will is that she comes back next week. No, don't do that. God doesn't appreciate it. God says this about that. Yeah, no, don't tell me what to do. He's the one that can say that. Don't tell me what to do, because he's going to do what he's going to do. Thank goodness.
I could say that.
Didn't you just love it when you came to the place where you realized that, my gosh, I'm directing God? What is that all about?
Oh, yeah, I love that. I love that. Okay.
We talk about it, but to know it.
Yeah. Okay, on this side of the sheet, I'm going to put all my old ideas about God. On this side of the sheet, I'm going to tell you, God, what you're going to be. Really? Again, that's one of those tools that if people don't explain it, can be misunderstood. And so we need to make the approach. We need to be available for people. All right, next week, the topic is going to be the ABCs. The ABCs.
Oh, gosh, I love that.
And they go like this. The little piece right before it says, our description of the alcoholic, the chapter to the agnostic. And that's the description of alcoholic is more about alcoholism in the beginning of the book and the doctor's opinion. The chapter to the agnostic is the chapter, we agnostics. And the personal adventures, which are the stories in the back. Before and after make clear 3 pertinent ideas. A, that we were alcoholic and could not manage our own lives. B, that probably no human power could have relieved our alcoholism. And C, that God could and would if he were sought. The original manuscript said that God can and will. Period. Not even if he were sought. Because God's actions are not based on our behavior. It's what he does. The original manuscript said God can and will. So we'll be talking about the ABCs next week. So those of you who use a different text in your recovery fellowship, that's fine. Stick with us. This is pretty much the mothership. You know, it's always good to go to the source of all the other stuff, I think. I think you can study something 2 ways. You can study them devotionally or you can study them historically. I like to mix it up and do a little bit of both. I love studying this stuff historically because we get stuff the way it was originally written, and we talk about that, and it just kind of brings it alive. So the ABCs are next week. Congratulations to Joy Talbot and Jennifer Lawwell. I hope I'm pronouncing those names correct. On winning our group giveaway. Until our next broadcast, this is the Monty Man along with Sandy W. and Bruce H. And we're wishing God's perfect serenity for you. Bye-bye now, my friends.
This has been a broadcast of Take 12 Recovery Radio and KHLT Recovery Broadcasting.
Kitty, 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 kitty.